Hamas actually released a 17-page booklet called Our Narrative. Now, from their perspective, and again, I want to make it clear, the killing of any innocent child, woman, person is completely unjustified. Okay, but at the same time, they have a right to resist, and they first specifically targeted IDF military bases. Now, when it came to the festival, again, I think it was completely unwise to have a bunch of what you guys deem to be, civilians within that vicinity, knowing that it's so close to occupied territory. Now, this is where this might be something difficult that you might not agree with, but I would argue that many people who were there wouldn't be considered necessarily civilians in the way in which that we describe them. So, for instance, as we know, many people in Israel, it's mandatory for them to join the IDF from 18 to 20 years old. Hamas outlines this very clearly in their booklet, where they specifically say, well, if you have to join the army from the age of 18 to 20, then you are a part of the occupation. So therefore, you are also, so to speak, a legitimate target. And now you might say to me, oh, well, they were completely unarmed and they were not, didn't have any weaponry. But in the festival, there was people who had weaponry. There were Shin Bet there were police security officers there, and those people unfortunately got caught in the crossfire. But to define them specifically
I'm
as
sorry,
civilians,
Vida,
I would
I've got to
disagree,
interrupt
because
Vida. I'm sorry, I can't actually listen to this. I've watched the massacre. There wasn't a crossfire. There were young girls running across a field screaming as Hamas militants, terrorists, scumbags sat there and shot them like they were pheasants, like they were game, screaming, God is great, Allahu Akbar, as they butchered young children, as they butchered young adults, 18 years old, 19 years old. You have no idea what you're talking about. And to describe that as legitimate resistance, to say that their murder is somehow justified, is absolutely disgusting. Hamas have no idea who was serving in the IDF and who wasn't. They were shooting whichever Jew they saw. And then they went on, after shooting the Jews, to shoot the Muslims. It's shameful that you would sit there and defend them. I've watched the video. I've watched the Hamas atrocity video that was the 47-minute video for the press. You can literally see them standing at the edge of a field, shooting and laughing and screaming, God is great. These butchers perverted and disgraced Islam. They disgraced the Arab nation and they disgraced humanity. And you, by sitting there and defending them, butchering like literal people having a peace party, they were dancing for peace. For you to sit there and defend that is a disgrace on you. It's a shame on you.
So I understand your frustration. I understand why you're upset. But again, it's a classical case of double standards and hypocrisy, because when Palestinians were going through multiple October the 7th by Israel, nobody cared. Now it's come to your doorstep. Now you finally decided to look at the Palestinian plight and actually understand how serious this is getting. This could have been avoided. But like I said, your government's policies, bad policies, which tells your population to join the army, not like any other army to protect and serve, but an army to maintain occupation. By default, you are endangering your own people.
So,
when you are allowing them to be in a combative zone close to military bases, again, you are endangering your people. When it comes to the innocent people, like I said earlier, any innocent person who was intentionally targeted, I condemn that. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying that elderly women and whatnot were not killed, but also I'm able to understand that there was crossfire from the IDF.
No crossfire.
The IDF
what are you
was
talking
involved
about?
in some of the
Where
killings.
was the crossfire? It was literally, they paraglided into a festival and started gunning down innocent civilians. Where the fuck is, where is the crossfire?
Were there not armed people at the festival?
There was a smattering of security guards who, like heroes, gave up their life, returning fire, not caught in the crossfire. Hamas was shooting civilians, and some of the security guards. That's not what are you talking about? Crossfire. They landed in a festival and started intentionally shooting. That's not crossfire. They weren't shooting the security guards. They were shooting the civilians. They weren't shooting the security guards. They were shooting the civilians. I've seen it with my own eyes. What are you talking about?
I understand that, but nonetheless,